What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank, and today I want to talk about how I believe we should be partnering when it comes to the diaspora and the continental Africans coming together economically and socially in the spirit of Pan-Africanism, to the spirit of unity to build, right? And I'm talking about the everyday average African American and the everyday average Nigerian, Ghanaian, West African period. And like I said in my previous video, I think African Americans specifically should focus on the English speaking West African countries that we come from, right? Now, yes, we do derive from the French Francophone speaking countries, but for expediency, we need to operate where we have less barriers between us, to where we can work fast and expedient to make connections and do business and just basically reconnect ourselves. So African Americans, Afro-Caribbeans who speak English should focus on West African, specifically West African and Central African countries that are English speaking. And the way we should do it is, remember when you were younger, when you were a child and you didn't have any friends, or you moved to a new place and you had to make friends? Right? That's an art form that it seems to be lost nowadays. People don't know how to make friends, to make connections, the way we used to, because everybody wants something to come to them, or everybody wants, things to be organized for them. But you yourself can go out and reach out and look for a friend. I like to call this an economic friend. Somebody who you can do business with, someone who you can get to know and trust to the level of which you can do business with them, right? So this is how I recommend the breakdowns. I recommend single men, and I'm not, and there's a reason why I'm breaking this up. I recommend single men, right? Single African American men, single African American men. I recommend you go, and when I say single, I mean you don't have a girlfriend, you have nothing tying you down here. I recommend single African American men who have money, means, and ability to move about with no restrictions. I recommend that you go to Africa and look for a partner of the female persuasion. I'm just saying. I recommend you go look for a partner of the female persuasion if you're serious. I'm not talking about taking advantage of. I'm just saying the best connections I see. Single African American men who really want to truly establish themselves. I recommend them go to find a woman over there, right, or over here, or maybe a second generation Nigerian or West African from whatever country that's over here, that's business minded. I recommend you do that. I recommend you get to know them and think of your partnership as more than, as not just the Western European style of commerce. Don't think. I want you to think African. So if you're a man, I want you to think about connecting with your opposite, but over there, a business-minded woman who you can build a type of relationship, a multifaceted relationship, and a level of trust, so you can operate effectively over there. That's what I recommend for single men. For men who are not single, I recommend you find a Nigerian, a Ghanaian, somebody over here, maybe a second generation West African, a third generation who's still connected, who still goes back and forth. I recommend you partner up with somebody from whatever country you want to operate in here, someone that you can effectively communicate with, you can meet in person over here in America and get to know, right? And the reason why I say that is because once you establish a relationship with someone over here, then what you would do, once they introduce you to their family, you then insert yourself and become a part of their family. If you're a person of good, a good character and good morals and all that stuff. We don't want dubious Pookie and Ray doing this. We want upstanding individuals that want to reconnect. And what better way to reconnect into any African society is to reconnect with a family. So you can start learning those family-oriented business practices that are successful in Africa, right? We need to pick up those things that we're missing from our community, because remember, Africans are communal. That's why we always fighting with each other, we always playing with each other, we joke with each other. That's why we operate the way we operate. It's in our nature to be family oriented. So you need to connect with a family. Make true and trusted connections. And am I going to say it's going to work every time? Is it going to be perfect? Obviously not. There's bad people everywhere. There's people looking to take advantage of you everywhere. There's people looking to scam everywhere. But that's in every country. There's people looking to scam us right now in this country, in America. There's people that call your phone every day looking to scam you. So don't equate scamming with a group of people. Just understand it's something that will happen. So it's up to you to do your due diligence to make sure that you're dealing with people who are reputable, right? And even if you do your due diligence, sometimes it just won't work out. It's the luck of the draw. It's the risk that comes involved with creating and building new relationships to establish yourself economically, socially, anywhere else, right? But connect with a family, right? And then be generous to as far as you can be. Understand how the culture works, and don't be quick to be offended by certain things that will offend you as a Westerner. Because remember, this is a different world and people operate differently, right? And those differences can sometimes the communication get crossed, and we think we're being slighted, or when we think one way or they think one way. You have to open your mind to culture and be malleable and pliable to one's cultural practices within their country. So if you're a single man and you're marriage oriented, okay, and you want to be conservative, because African people, they are socially conservative. Right? Not to be mixed up with white European Western political conservative ideologies, but they are African-centered, so conservative, and there's a level of respect. Your name means something, your word means something, community means something, and your actions are appreciated and recognized. And vice versa. When someone does something for you over there, you should recognize and appreciate it, and show the appreciation in the proper traditional way in which people show and display appreciation over there. And you will find in West Africa that the way they show appreciation is very similar to the way we show appreciation as African Americans when we are being the best of us, when we're being the best version of what we are. All right, so if you're a single African American man, I recommend you go to West Africa and look for a single West African woman who's a business woman, who is business oriented, school oriented, because the way the dynamics will work with that combination, and that's a combination that's silently being put together. That's part of the puzzle pieces that's silently being put together, but nobody's really talking about. The African American male and the West African woman, because West African women are business minded oriented, just like African American women. It's just that their personalities and the way the culture is set up, it fits. You would fit with that. As far as single for women who want to make moves, I recommend you get with, if you're a single woman, if you're open and open to culture, I recommend you go find you a single African man. All right, a single African man who's serious and respectful and not just looking to get something out of you. Someone that's not just looking to get citizenship, how the love scams or whatever. If you are a single African American female who understands how to be you must understand how to be a strong yet feminine female to mix properly with an African man. You can't bring that Western white masculinity, I'm an independent, blah, 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 blah. You can't bring that. You can still be strong and assertive, but you must do it within your feminine bounds, because this is Africa and they are socially conservative and they hold on to their African traditional values. So you gotta take that in consideration, and don't think you're gonna go over there and think you're gonna steamroll a man and try to take over that relationship. You must understand, if you're in a relationship that becomes personal, understand the role that traditional women will be playing over there. If you don't fit with that, you're gonna have some conflicts. A married African American woman or who wants to do business and has a husband here or whatever, I recommend you get with other female business owners, continental business or West African business owners who are adjacent to you. I think African American women and continental African women, especially in Nigeria, I'm always going to pump Nigeria. I think that's a connection that, if made properly and respectfully and honestly, could be a powerhouse. Because you women are the same. You Nigerian women, African American women, once you guys get to know each other, you will see where that strong black woman power actually comes from. and you would see how that strong black woman, how it manifests itself when it's in an African-centered point of view and not a white Western-centered point of view. So it'll be good for our African-American women to pick up on some of those cultural traits that they've lost due to our time over here and the things that we've dealt with. But I'm telling you, the African-American woman and the Nigerian woman, if they were to combine forces, you guys could take over the beauty industry. You can take over the makeup industry. You can take over the hair industry. I'm talking about global. And you wouldn't need to sell any of your products to anybody else. There are over 500 million black women just in Africa that you can sell to, and that's willing to purchase whatever it is you're making, and is ready to utilize any services that you want to utilize. So if you're an African American woman and you're married and you can't really hook up, obviously you wouldn't want to hook up with a Nigerian dude as your base partner. Find you an African woman who is also business minded and oriented, and make connections, make some thrill, make some girl groups, make some black girl magic, spread that TikTok, spread that black girl magic, that pink hair don't care, all of that. Y'all really need to combine forces, because I believe that black woman thing, black women have always been our glue. All right, black men, we've been the builders, we've been the fighters, we've been the warriors, we've been the backbone of the black community on this planet. But our black women have been our biggest supporters, our biggest allies, our biggest fans, our biggest cheerleaders, our biggest critics, and they have been the glue to keep us together when even us black men have gotten tired, weary, and faltered. Our black women have always been there to lift us back up and remind us who we are, and that's what makes black women so special. And it's the same on the continent as it is anywhere on this planet where black people are. So I believe that glue that really needs to be connected is the African American woman, the African Caribbean woman, and their counterparts on the continent. Y'all can do amazing things together with your creativity and your strength. Just combine forces, save the cattiness for the others, and let's get down to business. I believe that's a good combination. But all in all, it's all about getting connected with the family. If you want to do business in Africa, connect yourself with a family. You need minders. We need minders, people that when we go there, we have a base to where these people we trust, these people we take care of, we have similar interests, and that way when you're operating in these countries, you have someone who's your advocate, who's your double ganger, who's your retainer, who would do things on your behalf because both of you have the same mutual goals and benefits. But the main thing is community. Those are the combinations which I believe we should advocate for. And I'm not saying that any old African American man can't connect with any old African American business owner over there. That's also a good combination. I'm just talking about the ones that will probably mesh the best, because men being as competitive as we are, unless you have another man that you totally control, you don't want to go over there and bump egos, because the West African male ego is humongous. All right, as African American man ego is huge. West African, specifically Nigerians, male egos are huge, and that's because we're the same. And sometimes we don't recognize that we are the same, so we don't understand where we are coming from, especially when we communicate within our point of view or perspective. Africans are communicating from the African perspective. African Americans are communicating with a Western mixed of perspective. But the African American and the Nigerian are literally the same. Like one day this would be well known, but right now it's not well known, because Nigeria in its own political internal politics, they have not advertised themselves as well as some other countries have, but they have other more important pressing things they need to deal with first before they even get to that point. And that's what they're dealing with now. But once they take care of that, the realization of just how Nigerian African Americans are is going to blow everybody's mind, and it's game over, and they know it. And so I think those are the best combinations to go do business. And I think my channel is to make those connections. So if you are on the continent, let's say you're a prospective business owner, you got land, you got business idea, you got connections with this, that, but you don't have capital. More than likely, your American counterpart may have capital, but don't know don't have any networks, don't have any connections, don't have any bridges to cross, don't have any place to land, right? Don't have a point of reference to get anything done. That's where we come together, right? So that's what my page is all about. Afro Think Tank and this page, African American Experience in Africa, is so that this is a space where we can get together. Maybe in the comment section, you'll hear somebody chatting, saying something like this and like that. You say, hey man, I'm out here in such and such. I'm out here in such and such. Oh man, maybe we can do a live and do a group, and we will be doing lives. Once I get this channel big enough to where I can, go live effectively, we'll have lives where we'll try to concentrate on just that. People meeting each other and making those necessary connections, that will hold, so that be a bridge for both our peoples can go back and forth and utilize the leverage that we have, whether it be on the continent or whether it be somewhere in the diaspora, so we can help mutually benefit each other and create those bridges for our children to walk over easily one day. Right? So our job is to plant the seed and create the bridges, right? That's our generation's job, to gather the information, to plant the seeds of success, to create the bridge of connection, so that our children and our grandchildren can easily cross those bridges with no problems, and so they can make connections and build and continue on what it is that we're doing, and continue on what our ancestors have been trying to do since our civilizations have been disrupted. Okay, so that's all I got to say for now, guys. This is Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.